Hey guys, so I just made a video I just uploaded. I was watching these, what do you call them, shorts. And because I explained some stuff, it's not a short anymore. Let's put it that way. It went from being a short to being a long. You get it? A short video went to being a long video. So I wanted to prove a point here. So according to Christian tradition, not fact, okay? Tradition. Remember this, guys. According to Christian tradition, Jesus died on a cross, which is actually a lie, which is an instrument of his crucifixion. Oh my God, I can't speak properly. I'm sorry, guys. It's my speech impediment. Anyways, the event is described in 4 canonical gospels and in central event in Christian belief. While the term cross is commonly used, the Greek word used in the New Testament, stauros, can also refer to an upright stake or beam. And of course, as I mentioned before, a tree is not a cross. And usually you don't tie someone up to a tree unless you're hanging them from it. And usually you hang them from a branch. But if you're impaling them on a tree, it's usually because the tree has all its branches cut off, and it is in fact a stake, is the way we would say it in, English or Canadian or American or Australian, whatever, it doesn't matter. So anyways, some scholars, particularly those who interpret the scriptures literally, suggest, which is actually the correct way to interpret it in this situation, not always, interpret the scriptures literally suggest that Jesus may have died on a simple stake rather than a T-shaped cross. However, the traditional understanding in most Christian denominations is that the instrument of crucifixion was a T-shaped cross, which is actually incorrect. That's a tradition, and traditions aren't always based in facts. A lot of times they're based in lies, just like the celebration of Christmas. Now, guys, this is not meant to be a religious channel. I just was watching this, and I like to share things that I find interesting and factual. And so most people out there that are wearing a cross around your neck, technically, I would never wear the weapon that killed my son or my daughter or my friend or whatever. It just seems, it's an idol. And I don't worship idols, and I don't bow down to a cross or a stake for that matter. But anyways, like I said, this is actually historical fact. So Jesus actually died on a stake. That's actually the definition of Strauss. And when you look in the same Bibles that use the word cross, where he died on a cross, the same Bible in other parts will say he died on a tree. And like I said, he didn't die on a cross. He died on a tree or a stake, right? Representing wood, obviously, right? So these are facts, guys. If you do your research, and within a few seconds, you can find this out. But because the Roman Catholic Church that basically the Romans adopted Christianity, and because of the fact that they mixed in false pagan idol worship, and they mixed in false pagan holidays, right? This is why we have such a screwed up world today, because basically most religious people today are worshiping God, in fact, incorrectly. And you think you're saved? Well, trust me, once saved, always saved. No, your eternal life is based on your, like John, I think it's John 17:3. This means everlasting life, taking an accurate knowledge of God, Jehovah in other words, and the one he sent, which was his son. So guys, I just thought I'd mention this. It's just an interesting fact. Okay, not an opinion, not my interpretation, your interpretation, like a medical book or a math book, it's either going to be correct or it's not. And there's so many different interpretations that are just that. They are incorrect. There's only one correct interpretation, and if you're honest with yourself, and if you're honest with what you read, and you do your actual research, right? Because it's hard to be saved, right? I don't care if you got a disease or a sickness, but if you're going to be saved from that disease, if you're going to cure yourself, you need to have accurate information to cure yourself from that sickness or disease. Makes sense, right? Pretty sure anybody with a logical mind could understand what I'm saying. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. Take care from the bear. And hey, just some interesting facts I wanted to share with you. Hope you like that. Bye for now.